really awesome to watch Dean get around the racetrack because the pedal's on the floor and he's not afraid of it.
All right, and then coming in at number 9, we have another All-Star. So number 9 would be the lowrider, Dale Blaney. Dale got 2 wins at Ohio this year, one at his father's race, the Lou Blaney Memorial, and then he picked up a Speed Week win at Muskegon County, and he actually won the Speed Week title or the Rain Week title, whatever you want to call it. But all in all, a solid year for Dale, as always, in Ohio.
Yeah, Blaney lowrider always pieces together a solid week. He always has a good showing during Speed Week in Ohio, and it's same story this year. So I'm interested to see what happens for Blaney in 2020.
I think he was one of the most consistent drivers out there for sure. He actually, even though he's not the highest All-Star on this list, he did have the most top 10s out of any of the All-Stars, finishing within the top 25 this year.
I got to work with Dale a couple of years back with the 11N, and it was refreshing to see the lowrider back on attack this year. He looked comfortable. He looked aggressive. He was back on offense in a lot of races, and we got to talk briefly during Speed Week, and you could see his comfort level and his confidence come back to him. And he had that rough spell there at the end of 16, maybe, with losing George and then going down to Florida in February with the 1Z and being involved in that wreck. And, it looked like that really put a damper on him. And it's really exciting to see him have a fire lit back under his, I don't know if we're allowed to swear, but I'll say tail. But he looked really good this year, and I hope he lands a solid ride for next year, and continue to watch him do Dale Blaney things, roll right through the middle and make the slick fast.
All right. Coming in at number 8, we have the 8M of TJ Michael. TJ also got his first 410 win this year. He picked up the Jack Hewitt Classic, I believe, at Wayne County Speedway. Or not Wayne County, but Waynesfield. There are too many Waynes here in Ohio. But so he got that monkey off of his back, and he quietly put together a really solid year with that one win, 7 other top 5s, and 17 top 10s. I think this was kind of one of those breakout years for him, and maybe next year we'll see him dip into that win category some more.
Yeah, that's for sure a breakout year for him. He went from 24th in the Ohio points last year all the way up to, as we said, 8th, which is very impressive. And then that's after, was it 1 or 2 years on the All-Stars for him? So it's pretty impressive to see his growth now that he's been back running the local scene.
All right. And then coming in at number 7, the 5T of Travis Philo. Travis always kind of seems to get his mojo going at the end of the year. He picked up a late season victory at Attica, and he had quite a few other good runs, including 9 other top 5s and 19 top 10s, which gives him an even 100 points at the end of the year. But Travis, just like I said, he seems to find that mojo at the end of the year. I think if he can get that mojo, in the beginning of the year, he could be forced to be reckoned with all year long.
Yeah, Philo's always competitive when he travels around the state too, because he's one that tends to travel more than some of the others, and he can usually hang pretty much anywhere. He's one of the few that put on good showings at Eldora when he travels down there. Although not necessarily so much this year, but he's always in the top 25 on these. He's been in the top 25 every year. I've done that for the last 3 years, so very consistent.
All right, and then coming in at number 6. Number 6 is very intriguing to me because he doesn't have any wins on the year. But number 6 was Nate Dussel, who found himself in the middle of the Attica points title chase, the Fremont points battle, and the AFCS points battle as well. And Nate just quietly put together a great year, and I think next year we're going to see him do quite a bit of damage if I had to guess. So he might get that 410 win for his dad, but in 2019 he had 13 top fives and 17 top tens to go along with it. So Nate was always up front.
Yeah, Nate's improvement has been absolutely outstanding since he's gotten back into the 410. He was 28th in points last year and all the way up to 6th. That's a heck of an improvement for only being in the 410 for consecutive years, 2 years. I definitely look for him probably to be in the hunt, if not the Fremont champion next year.
And Nate seemed like he kind of led the way there to how to get around the new Fremont Speedway, I guess you'd say, or the new track formation, I guess. I don't know. But Nate he adapted quickly, and there was no doubt who was going to be quick in qualifying, and he was a guy I went down and talked to quite a bit to, hey, you know, what do you got to do to get off a 2, or and you know, lucky to be able to go talk to him because he was definitely, you said, quiet, and you know, he probably has a handful of wins if it weren't for maybe little bobbles or crazy things happening in front of him. He put on a great showing at Waynesfield the night TJ picked up his win, and Nate was battling for a win there too. So he kind of did it on all types of racetracks.
So yeah, definitely watch out for Nate Dussel in 2020. I think he could be a dark horse for what I call the Ohio Triple Crown. And now getting into the top 5, number 5, we have an all-star. So to have an all-star in 5th place with limited starts, I mean, they must have done pretty good. So we have the all-star champion, actually, Aaron Reitzel, who picked up an astonishing 7 wins in Ohio this year, second most in the state, to go along with 12 top 5s and 13 top 10s. I mean, Aaron Reitzel is just stupid fast wherever he goes.
Oh, you know, there's actually a couple other shows he could have been in the top 5 or won, because I believe the show that we were talking about earlier where Brock spun out collected Aaron Reitzel as well. He had a couple shows where he got knocked out when he was near the front too, so he could have even been higher on this list had that not happened.
If it weren't for motor failure, that guy might have 30 feature wins this year. It seemed like the only time he wasn't in the top 5 is because a motor expired or whatever happened. But yeah, that guy's a gasser, and I really hope we get to see him on the Outlaw Tour next year. I'm not sure if that's come out or not, but I'd like to see him get to go up against the best every single night, and he was even competitive with them guys. So it'd be cool to see that team go outlaw racing and, you know, continue the success.
Just a side note with Reitzel, so this isn't an Ohio stat, but over in central Pennsylvania, no one has led more laps in central Pennsylvania this year than Aaron Reitzel. So it's pretty astonishing that Reitzel gets the second most wins in Ohio and then goes and leads the most laps in central Pennsylvania. So leading into that, our top 4, we have 4 locals for the year. So number 4, we have DJ Foose, who came in a new ride, the Burmeister 16. DJ ended up getting 5 wins along with 16 other top 5s and 28 top 10s. I mean, DJ was consistent all year long, and it paid off, giving him the Attica Championship and the inaugural AFCS Championship as well.
Yeah, I believe I texted you this earlier this week, and he only had 1 top 5 and 7 top 10s through June 1st. Now, I know a lot of the season got washed out there, but to have 15 top 5s from June to the rest of the year is very impressive. They definitely got things clicking in that Burmeister car and made the chase for the end of the AFCS Championship and Fremont Attica Championships very entertaining there at the end.
All right. And then coming in at number 3, we have the driver who won the last sprint car feature in Ohio, and he has the most sprint car wins in Ohio this year with 8. We have the Fast Series champion and the Atomic 410 champion, Cole Duncan, at number 3. Like I said, Cole had 8 wins, 17 top 5s, and 24 top 10s this year.
Yeah, and Cole did quite a bit of traveling, too. He ran quite a few Pennsylvania shows this year, and with running the Fast Series, he ran up in Michigan some and Indiana as well, taking away a couple of Atomic starts he could have had. He's actually finished in the top 5 every year I've done the points on this and was the champion in 2017. So he's always one of the biggest threats in Ohio to win.
I thought Cole had a relatively quiet year. Last year it seemed like he was definitely a guy to beat every night. And then taking on the Fast Tour this year, you could tell at the beginning of the year his confidence was getting down a little bit. He was having a couple rough runs. About midway through, and actually pinpointed it was the Atomic Speed Week show before it was canceled. Cole Duncan laid down the craziest qualifying lap I've ever seen. I don't remember who he took quick time away from, but I remember vaguely saying, "Hold my beer." And Cole Duncan went out, and he showed them guys where the line was. And so that kind of turned Cole's year around and started clicking off wins. I believe he was the Fast champion. But, yeah, Cole I thought was pretty quiet year, and then you said 8 wins, and holy crap, what I miss. But it's good to see Cole go good there at the end.
I talked to Cole here last week, I believe, and he said that he didn't get one of those like gem wins, so like an all-star win or one of those big Pennsylvania wins this year, but 8 wins is still impressive nonetheless.
No, he did also win his 5th consecutive Freedom 40, so I mean, might not be necessarily a huge gem, but it is one of Atomic's biggest races that they have each year. So to win that 5 times straight is very impressive.
Right. So, all right, we're down to the top 2. A lot of people can probably guess who these 2 drivers are, but number 2, we have Cap Henry, who is just still one of the best drivers in Ohio. He's turned that Lane Racing team into, those 2 are just a potent combo. Cap ended up with 5 wins this year, 4 at Fremont Speedway and 1 at Wayne County with the All-Stars, picking up his first All-Star win. He also had 4 second places, 5 third places, 3 fourth places, and 4 fifth places to give him 21 top 5s and 27 top 10s to go along with his 5 wins this year. Cap had some terrible luck for a while this year, but it's still good seeing him right up near the front.
Yeah, Cap is always one of the dominant shoes in Ohio, especially with Lane Racing now. They have really clicked off well. And actually, he's down a spot from last year. He was the champion in the points in 2018. But, yeah, he had a very good year still. And if it wasn't for some bad luck, he may have been able to pick up one of Attica or Fremont championships, because he was leading the points at Attica for a good while. Him and Buddy had a good race going on, and then they both got taken out a couple races in a row. So that kind of changed the points battle on that track.
Yeah, Cap is arguably one of the fiercest competitors, definitely in Ohio, but he kind of brings an outlaw type approach. Is, you know, if you're in his way, you're in his way, and it definitely shows. And you know, I respect Cap a ton. It doesn't mean I necessarily want to race around him, but he's a good person to talk to and a good person to learn from. And it's impressive what that 4 team does. You know, that whole group's really good group of guys, and you know, they deserve to run up front, and they don't deserve to flip 3 race cars in two nights, but that kind of happens. And it was good to see them guys bounce back. You know, Cap's definitely a shoe, and It'd be cool to see those guys maybe run the All-Star Tour. I know that's not their budget or their deal, but it